So it should work now, I guess.
Cool. Yes, I
Cool.
see a little recording thing.
Yes, recording things should work now. So Elisabeth, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much for
much.
having me.
Yeah, of course, of course. Do you know when we met the first time?
Oh goodness. It was so long ago. I can't remember, but it must have been at an Agile Testing Days.
Yes, it was 15 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
2008?
2009, I guess.
9. Okay.
I think 2009. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 2009 is.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I
And I
was.
remember that was such an amazing conference. It was mind-blowingly good.
Yeah,
And
you yeah, you need to come
sorry.
back to Germany. You need to come back to Germany.
I would love to when I'm traveling more. I'm
I
really
know, I
not
know.
traveling very much right now.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think many people still at home, and it's the main problem having conference. Not the Agile Testing Days in Germany is fine. We have a very good one last year, and this year is going to be also amazing. Also, the open air is going to be amazing. With USA, we are still struggling.
Okay.
But I'm not the only one. I think everybody's struggling in US at the moment.
Yes, that is very true.
But that's okay. So when we met, I met a very tough, strong, self-confident woman, full of knowledge, and the will to share this knowledge on the stage. And on the stage, you were a rock star. It was the first time that I saw a person rocking the stage. Really.
You are so sweet.
Is that you?
Is that me? No.
Do you see yourself like that?
Not at all.
No?
Not at all.
I have videos.
Okay. Well, even if I watch the video, I would see something completely different. And that's the thing about self-perception, is that my perception from inside here is different from what I hear people tell me from outside. And it's always interesting.
No, but I remember, because for me I was there say, oh my God, because you were so strong. You were there, and you were I would not say dancing, but I don't know how do you call this in English, what you do with your feet like that, and you was talking to the people and telling, and was so, oh my God, amazing, 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 and so much knowledge and
oh my goodness, you're so sweet.
yeah.
You are so sweet.
Yeah.
I think that maybe what you saw as confidence is, in my head, I love software development. And at this point, I've been in the industry for a long time, so I've seen some stuff. And when I'm telling stories about my past experience or about software development, and I lose my self consciousness, and so it projects as confidence, and I that's not what it feels like inside. It's just that I'm talking about things that I love, and so I lose all of the self-consciousness that makes me in other situations maybe appear a little bit more introverted. People think I'm an extrovert, and I'm not. I am totally an introvert.
I always said that. I always say the same, and then the people say me on the stage, and
Right.
till now I do not regret many things, but it's okay. Yeah. So you have two daughters, right?
Yes, I do.
You have only two daughters. Okay.
That's it. Two daughters.
Are they like you, or are they more like Kirk?
So Kirk is my husband, for anybody who's watching this and doesn't know who he is. And they are themselves. They are both their own individuals. My older daughter is now 27. My younger
Wow.
daughter is, I know, right? Because she was little when you and I first met. And my younger daughter is just graduating from college this year. And they've each chosen their own path in life. Neither one of them went into technology. They completely rejected technology.
I mean, having you both as a sample, it's a good decision, I guess.
My older daughter is an editor and an artist, and my younger daughter is getting her degree in theater arts, with an emphasis on set design and immersive theater. So they, from a discipline standpoint, the thing they chose, they couldn't be more different. And from a personality standpoint, each of them, I can see parts of both Kirk and me in each of them. But I also see each of them as a complete individual unto themselves with their own personalities and quirks and likes and dislikes, totally independent from Kirk and me. And I sometimes look at them and go, whoa, you're amazing. Where did you come from?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I see also that with my four children. I mean, the biggest one
Yeah.
now is 20, and he's now studying, and he's by far. I hope he's not seen that. He's so clever and so far away, and so and very nice too. He had also a bit hard, and for me it's amazing. And you see my daughter, the second one, and on the row, she's quite artist. So I don't know what she's going to be, but it has nothing to do with me. And the other one, my little one, can sing very nicely, and I cannot sing. I am the only Spanish guy who cannot play a guitar. I cannot even sing. I am I am the disaster of a Spanish guy.
No.
Yeah, let's let crazy. So one thing that I've seen when, especially during the pandemic time, that was you were baking bread.
Yes.
Do you still
I
do
baked a
that?
lot of bread. Sorry?
Do you still do that?
No, I don't. So two things have changed. One is since things opened up and getting out more, found some really good bakeries in our area, so I don't need to make bread. But I also have more things that occupy my time, so I don't really have the time. And the other thing is, I used to post pictures on Twitter from our kitchen at the time in the house that we were living in then. And that kitchen, I'm never going to get another kitchen like that again. It was one of my favorite places in the whole world. And for a variety of reasons, we decided to move. And the house that we're in now, I'm not sending pictures of that kitchen anywhere. And it's not as much of a joy. It's not as much of a joy to bake in. And so I just don't want to spend the time there the way that I spent the time in the kitchen that I posted pictures of.
Yeah, there's always the thing when you change houses, that you get a new kitchen. And I remember 1998, that was the first time that I bought a flat for myself. And then the most expensive thing that I've buy in my life was that kitchen. Okay, so it was so nice. And then 2 years later we have to move because we got a baby. So difficult. So and so on and so forth. So I still today I don't have the kitchen that I have. My kitchen is quite big, but it's still too small for me. And but the point where I want to go was, making bread
Hmm.
is about time.
It is,
It is
yes.
about time. And for myself, for example, it's something that I am not quite Spanish on that. I cannot wait for things. I need the things to happen quickly. And my colleagues, when they see the video, they say yes, yes, because I when I work, I want to speed and to do things. And what about you? Do you have the ability to wait, or are you more the person having speed? Or yeah,
Both.
yeah, both. Okay.
So when it came to bread, I was able to wait, and because I could see. So maybe the answer is I am a person who needs to be able to see, feel a sense of momentum and get a
Mhm.
sense of progress, and I can see when I would go check on the bread if it had only raised a little bit. I know that it needs more time. And I was baking sourdough bread. So it
Okay.
doesn't use the commercial
Mm.
yeast, which means that it would take longer. And I'm waiting for it to double in size. And it's not going to happen in 45 minutes. But I could see it grew bigger. Um, but when it comes to some other things, I can get incredibly impatient, especially if I can't get a sense that things are happening. And so I don't, if I don't have visibility into something is that's changing, that's happening, then I don't know. Okay, but what do I expect?
Mm.
So I'm both.
I don't know, but I don't have this ability. I want the things normally. I struggle if I need to wait. I have a problem with that. So um, and it's not getting better when I'm getting older.
I will confess, when I was younger, I had a lot less patience. And you're reminding me of a line from a movie, Postcards from the Edge. The line is, "Instant gratification takes too long." Um, and I remember when I saw that movie back in the whenever it was, because I don't remember when it came out, but it was like decades ago. And I remember I saw it and thought, yes, that.
Yeah, yeah. So you are now in California, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you have you lived the whole life in California, or are you from another part of US?
So I was born on the East Coast. But then when I was still a child, my parents moved us out to California. And so mostly grew up in California. And then after college, I worked in California for a little bit, but then I went back to the East Coast. And I was in Florida when I met Kirk. And then we moved up to New Hampshire. And I'd actually been raised partly in New Hampshire. So I thought I was coming home. Spoiler, it's way too cold. But but we spent a couple of years there when Ellery, my oldest, when she was younger, when she was like 1 and 2 years old, and then we finally agreed. We decided to move back to California, where we had family and better weather. So, but I've
Mm,
spent a lot of time in California. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, this is warmer because, but it depends. I was in San Francisco in a few months ago, and I thought it was warm. No, it was
No.
cold. Mm-mm.
Oh, you were expecting it to be warm. Yes. When
Mm.
when we moved from the East Coast, where we had snow and the winters that you think of with
Mm.
when we moved to California, my mother threw away or gave away all of our cold weather gear, all of it, hats, gloves, everything, because she thought that it would be warm. And it was below freezing that year. We had frost and a little bit of ice on the pool, and yeah, so she had also expected it to be warm, and it's Southern California. If you're in San Diego, it's warm year round. In the San Francisco Bay Area, it does get below freezing sometimes, but we don't really usually get snow.
I mean, I'm from the Canary Island, and normally we have in average 22, 24 degrees, and that's fine the whole year, and that's really very, very nice. And but I like the cold weather, so I like snow. I like snow, and I like the all seasons. But I need to be prepared. And when I went to San Francisco, I thought it's going to be warm, and I didn't have
So sad.
enough clothes with me, and I was totally disappointed. But so what? Okay, how is the life in California? Is it different the life in California than in other parts of US, or
Oh yeah.
how are the people in California? Are they nicer?
That varies. California, definitely, each part of California. California is huge. So Northern California and Southern California each have their own cultures. But I lived in Florida for a while. Very, very different culture to California. New Hampshire has a very different culture. So if somebody were to come and visit the US and only visit one part, they're just seeing one tiny part of a very, very large country. I would not say that we're nicer. I would say that, you know, people all over the world are great and nice, and but I would
Are you
say
opener? Are you opener than in other part of US?
maybe, but is it
Maybe.
really maybe? But is it really open? Is it really? I mean, it feels more open, but it's like if you picture a relationship, like picture a house. And for some people, it's enough if you come on the front porch. They don't want you in the house.
Hmm.
And then for some other people, oh, you come into the living room, but then that's it. You don't go past. And for some other people, oh, come on into the kitchen. We're having a kitchen party. But that doesn't mean that they're going to let you into the most private spaces in their house. It's just where they're prepared to have you come. And so, you know, are we opener? I don't actually think that we necessarily are, and especially in Silicon Valley, where we have an amazing culture with people from all over the world, and it's just a phenomenally diverse place. Um, but it's also an incredibly fast-paced place with people who are super impatient and drive their Teslas and don't want to have to wait behind somebody who's going slow, and who can get really angry about a parking spot. So I'm not prepared to say we're nicer. Just not.
That's okay. So, in what you said in Silicon Valley, what is now the impact of so many layoffs there?
Yeah, it's not
It's
good.
it's not.
Yeah, it's
What is the reason? What is the reason?
whew, that's a whole bar conversation.
I
Jeez.
don't know because I tell you something. So I'm from my point of view because I don't know this is right from my point of view. Okay, so I'm just giving my thoughts on that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so and last year in the summer I was all in Gran Canaria with all I go there with my family. So I spent 7 weeks there. Don't tell anyone. And
Wait,
and
I think you just did.
yeah, and I have a very good friend there, um, Carlos Ble, and Carlos Ble, he's I don't know if you know him, but he wrote some books about TD, and is well known in not only in the Spanish community but also in Europe, and has a company with 30, 40 developers. And he said to me, you know, I got an offer to work in US, and they are going to pay me a $500,000. And I said,
Sweet.
and then I said, what? I said, yeah, I don't earn that money here with even having 30 employees. So it's far away from the money I'm earning. So, and he said, what do you think? And I said, Carlos, forget it. Because in my perspective, I think even for US, it's insane. I think maybe they will pay you that money, but at the end of the day, the company need to earn the money. And if they have many of you, is a big thing. And I don't know if this is a problem there too, that the salaries were too high. I don't know.
So there are certainly people who would say that the salaries are too high. But it's also true that there are organizations that were paying salaries, especially if you look at the total compensation,
Mm,
which includes the uh, stock compensation and the
okay.
salary. And sometimes, if you see a total compensation package, they will also include things like your benefits, because in the United States, your health insurance is tied to your employer.
Mm,
And you know, there may be other benefits. And so if you look at that total compensation package, it is possible, not
mm,
not common. Like, that's the important thing for people to understand. It's like looking at a sports star who makes millions. There are a very small number of people who actually get compensation packages that are that size. And So there are those, though, who would say that that was too much. But the competition for talent was brutal. I was hiring people when I worked at Pivotal back in I when Pivotal was acquired by VMware. I left, and but before that, I was trying to hire, and Oh, we were competing against Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, all for talent in the San Francisco Bay Area. And this is pre-COVID, so it was when location really, really mattered. And it was brutal to compete for talent, but there were just so few people. Technology evolved so rapidly, and there were so few people who had the deep experience with cloud distributed systems, modern architectures, that's how some people get those kinds of salaries. We were not paying those kinds of salaries, to be super clear, but we really struggled to land talent.
Yeah.
I don't know that the current layoff situation is necessarily going to change that, though,
Mm,
because even though now there is a higher number of people who are looking for jobs, what I'm hearing from companies that are still hiring is, oh, it's actually possible to hire, as opposed to, oh, salary expectations have gone way down or anything like that. It's more like, okay, it's not as brutal as it was. It's actually possible to hire people now.
okay. No. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a big surprise because I knew that, of course, the salary are higher than in Europe because you have another kind of systems there regarding all the things and so on. And I have a friend of mine who was a manager at Microsoft in Germany,
Hmm.
and he stopped working when he turned 40. This is more than 20 years ago because he has all these compensations and shares and options and so on. So and it was brutal for there was for that time. This is 20 years ago. It was crazy. Anyway, so so but when we met each other, you have your own company now again, but
Yes. And
back
now again.
then and now again
Yes.
back then.
Yep.
How was that time? Because at that time I also started with my company. It's 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and for me these were the golden years of consultancy.
Oh, you mean back then was the golden years?
Back then, yeah, back then.
Not now for
No,
you?
no, 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 for me, no,
Okay.
no, no.
Yeah, the market, I mean, it's interesting to hear what it's like especially in Europe, because I have no visibility into that. It is a little bit weird in the US, and I think that the layoffs are affecting that, because pretty much any contracting or consulting budget is one of the first things to get cut. So but I'm sorry, what was your actual question?
The question was how was that at that time? Because for
Ah,
myself, 25 years ago, this was the golden years of consultancy because I earned more money doing consultancy 25 years ago than today.
yeah. So for me, I had a much smaller company. Sorry, I'm hearing a little
Yeah.
bit of something. Anyway, so I had a much smaller company than you did. And so at the time that I met you, I was very fortunate. I was working with a client who ended up sending me all around the world. And I did a lot of training with them. And that was lovely, but it's not a trend. It was one data point. That was one client that basically occupied most of my calendar for
Okay.
a portion of the time that you and I, um, you know, when I first met you. Um, I, 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 I would say that even in the golden days of consulting, I still was making less than I was making when I worked for companies, because being a solo entrepreneur is kind of like that. You don't do it for the money. You do it for the love.
True, 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 true. That even having a company, a big company, sometimes you would do it for the love.
Oh, sorry. Yes, of course. No, and you clearly love what you do. I did not mean,
No,
I
no, no,
just
no,
meant
no,
that
I
my
know what you mean.
motivation was
No,
not
no,
get
no,
rich.
no. But at
And
the
I'm
end
not
of
saying yours is either.
yeah, but at the end of the day, you need to buy the helicopter, the Porsche, the the plane.
You must live a very different life than I do.
Yes. No. Oh my god. So
I'm just
and then
happy to keep my dogs in kibble. Um,
yeah. Oh my god. No,
sorry.
no, it's good. So and then at some point you went to Pivotal, right? To work for
Yes,
them.
I did.
You did.
2012, I went to Pivotal and then disappeared from the planet.
Yeah, yeah, it was very nice because and then you I mean, you were not that present because you were working,
Yeah.
okay, and then I remember that I approached you and you didn't have less time to talk and so on. I understood that, and and then at some point, Pivotal made the IPO, right?
Yes.
And you rang the
Yes.
bell,
Oh, no, no, no. I
but
just
you
stood
were
behind.
there.
But I was, yes, and I had not even realized that I wanted to do such a thing, but I got to stand behind Rob Mee as Rob Mee was the CEO of
Yeah,
Pivotal at the time, and he rang the bell. It was a wild and surreal experience.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It was. I mean, when you have been working very hard because you did it, okay, you do that till today. So being in that position is this is exceptional, right?
It was, yeah, it's something that not that many people have gotten to do. It was phenomenal to get to be there. Um,
But to go there,
yeah.
there is a long path, right, of
Yes.
work. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
easy.
No, I do think so. One of the things that not everyone knows about Pivotal, because if you had heard of Pivotal, especially if it was someone who knew me and had heard of Pivotal, probably thought about Pivotal Labs or Pivotal Tracker. And the thing about Pivotal, the entity that where Rob rang the bell on Wall Street, was that that was a spin out. So Pivotal Labs was a consulting company that at the peak had, I think, 200-ish, maybe 250 people, something like that. And Pivotal Labs had been acquired by EMC. And then EMC and VMware always had a tight relationship. EMC and VMware got together and decided to do a spin out. And Pivotal Labs was one of the entities that got spun out, along with Cloud Foundry, the data offerings, Gemfire, which had been belonged to VMware, and Greenplum, which had belonged to EMC, and a bunch of other sort of entities that were in the portfolios for EMC and VMware, but didn't really make as much sense for those two companies. And so they put it all together into an entity that then took its name from Pivotal Labs because it was a great name, let's be honest. And also part of the goal was to take some of that culture from Pivotal Labs, the very agile culture. Pivotal Labs at the time was known for their particular flavor of agile. And all of that together, there were something like 1,200 people in the company when it was spun out. And so it wasn't quite the same as starting in a garage with 5 people and then making way all the way to the New York Stock Exchange. The pivotal entity that rang the bell, that entity kind of got a leg up when it was born.
And but for yourself, I mean, to prepare to go to this IPO and so on, there is a lot of pressure, right, and enormous work.
Yeah, there was. And I think some of the most interesting work really was about taking this spin out that had all of these different things that didn't yet go together. I mean, it made a beautiful PowerPoint. The story was fantastic, but the reality was that the products didn't integrate. The teams worked in completely different ways, and together the whole leadership team, including the executive staff, which I was on, but then every level of leadership plus every single person in the company worked really hard to make it into a single company, as opposed to a collection of little fiefdoms that all operated independently and differently. And that was, I think, harder than any of the other work that might have been going on, because certainly there were challenges with the market and competition and the business side of that. But at the end of the day, the engine that made it all work was the people inside Pivotal and forming one culture, and one company. That was the real challenge. And I'm so proud of the leadership team, every single person in any role, actually, for making that happen.
Mhm.
And yeah, I was part of it, but I
Yeah,
certainly didn't. There were
but
no heroics.
yeah, but I mean, and I'm sure, still sure you work from 9 to 5, right?
Ha! Ha! Well, okay. So, yes, I can laugh. At the same time, I learned a really important leadership lesson while I was there because at the very beginning, I was pushing a little bit too hard, and people saw that and started modeling their behavior after
Okay.
me. And I had a chat with one of my peers who pointed out that the healthiest thing that we as leaders could do was leave the office on time. And sure, given the role I was in, there were times when I was on a conference call with a client at 6 a.m. But it was really important to model sustainable pace because otherwise we were going to burn people out. So, yeah, it's true. My job was not a 9 to 5 job, but it also was not a 24/7 job. I made a point of drawing boundaries so that I would have time for
Okay.
myself and for my family.
Okay.
And in doing so, I gave other people permission to do so.
Okay, because normally when that was my point, so I wanted to go there because I don't know if working that hard, because seen from outside and knowing you as a tough, strong woman with a lot of knowledge and so on, and going there, because I, for example, I decided for myself many years ago that I want to keep my company small, because when I start growing, I noticed that I'm not able. I'm able to do it, but I will not be alive, because I will die, because this too much
Yes. And no
too
one
much
wants that.
pressure, too much. Yeah, of course not. Too much pressure, and I think that you pay with your health, and that was my question. If in the process, if at the end you saw that you pay with your health too, but I see that you did it, right?
Well, it's been a few years and there was a whole pandemic and um I will say that when I left I was a little tired. And
Okay.
so in 2020 I my last day at Pivotal was the last day that Pivotal existed, which was December 31st, 2019. And so the next day was January 1st, 2020. And of course, on January 1st, 2020, I had no idea what was going to happen in 2020. And so that was the day that the naps started. So I had plans for 2020. I was going to nap, like do daily naps, hang out at home, I was going on hiatus and I just wanted some time, some downtime. And I did need that because the pivotal experience was quite intense, even though I did try very hard to make it to ensure I was working at a sustainable pace. Um, but of course, 3 months in, I was not quite yet. I was getting really close to, okay, I can let me go have coffees with people and I'll go to museums and I'll get caught up with the rest of the world and I'll finally say yes to Jose and Agile Testing Days. And
Yeah,
and then of course the pandemic hit. Um and I
I
started
know,
making bread.
I remember that, I remember when you say yes. I said to my team, you see, she loves me.
I do. I genuinely, Jose, in all seriousness, I respect, admire, and appreciate you and everything that you've done with Agile Testing Days, and with your company so much. You just genuinely have created this amazing space, and I had such FOMO. I had such jealousy when I would see the ATD tweets, and I knew I couldn't be there.
Mm. But you have to come to the open air in Cologne. I mean, not this year, of course, because in June. I mean, you can come; you're invited. But maybe next year, if you have the time and if you want, if you are in the mood of traveling, because the open air is completely a new concept of conference, because we have a lot of spare time, and the people look for the things that they want to do. And at the first time when we did it, we thought, okay, maybe we're going to fail. So, but and the agile people are different, and and they enjoy and they do more than we expected, and that's very nice. So this year is going to be a blast, and so it's a good thing. So if you have time, so you're
Is it
welcome.
like an open space conference, or
And
what's
it's
the?
at the beach. It's at the beach. It's the river
Oh,
beach,
oh,
and you can swim if you want, or you cannot. So it depends on you. So and the thing is that we have a lot of we are all the time outside. Okay, so we are all the time
ah,
outside, and we're doing the things. There are some rooms, of course, too, but we are all the time outside, and from the morning till late in the evening, we have campfire, we have music, we have drinks, we play volleyball, we play everything there, and swim, and people do some crazy things and so on, and we learn and we meet people and talk to people, and so on. Is especially for teams is very nice. So but if you're welcome anytime, you are invited, highly invited. You don't need to talk, you can just be there and enjoy. So it's, if you want to come,
oh.
you are
It
highly
sounds like
invited.
a it sounds like a great conference. Very
Yeah,
cool. I will
it's
definitely take a look at what you're doing.
yeah, yeah. So I have one question
Yeah.
regarding to the things before, about companies, and not especially pivotal, but I would like to hear your opinion. Do you think that success is a lie?
No.
No? Okay. Explain
Okay.
to me.
Well, I don't understand the premise of the question. So why
Okay,
would it be a lie?
I don't know. What is success? I mean,
Okay.
we are the one who. I mean, okay. If I define success for myself, okay, so I can change all the time the target. For me, it's always success is success because I can change the target. But maybe for other one is I mean, even in a lie regarding, and because you can be successful, it depends on how you define that. You can define it for money, you can define because you want to have 300 employees or 500 employees, or whatever. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, for example, if there is a very nice example in here in Germany. There's let's say a self-made billionaire in Germany, and he wrote a book, and he said that he grew quite quick. He was in the insurance business, and he had a lot of pressure and so on. And the only way that he had to be successful was because he was taking pills to sleep. So he got
Mm,
addicted to that. So and for myself, what I said before, I remember that when I couldn't fall asleep because I have so much pressure that each time when I went to bed, I went to sleep, I thought I will die. So I couldn't sleep.
mm,
So, and that's why people could see my success as a success. But at the end of from my perspective, now for myself, now I'm successful and it's okay because I'm healthy and so on. But as soon as I pay with my health, I think that the success is a lie in my perspective. So that's
yeah.
my thought on that. I don't know if
I,
it's
I
too far away or a little bit
no,
crazy,
that
but
that makes sense. But I also think that it is possible. So there's personal success, and everyone gets to define that for themselves. And I do think that some people define personal success in terms that don't account for the cost in other areas that they don't include in success. And so their definition of success leads to exactly what you're describing, the cost in terms of health, and but that's not part of their definition. So they're not taking that into account. So they relentlessly pursue, um, regardless of the cost, they're relentlessly pursuing a goal. And you're right, that's not healthy. That doesn't mean success is a lie. It means that they have taken chosen a definition of success for themselves that doesn't take into account other things that um, I would hope would be important to them. And another example is time with family. At the time that I met you, I was flying all over the world, and I did sacrifice time with my children as a result. And that wasn't healthy. Yeah, you know exactly, right? And at the same time, I look back at it, and what would I do differently? It's, that
Yeah.
gets complicated.
I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean,
But sorry, go ahead.
no, the thing from myself, from my point of view, I mean, the I don't know if women behave differently than men, because in the sense of, for example, when I was traveling, I'm traveling and I meet people and business partner and so on, and you are for a dinner, and then you on a club, or you drink and so on, and for me, for myself, what's the point that I saw by myself that I need to take care, because if it's quite easy to lose the path and go in the right direction, because the pressure for myself, I've seen on myself, yeah, um, don't let you think in the right way, let's say in that way, so that you go maybe for the easy path, let's say it's not the easy path, but you go there, and this is that's was for me interesting. That's why for me success is always need to successful things is good when it happens, and when the people are healthy, then it's okay.
Yeah. And I think that you've just hit the nail with it, you can have a goal, and getting to that goal doesn't count if you've sacrificed the most critical things, your relationships with your family or your own health. And so, do I think it's a lie? No, not at all. But I do think that it requires a certain mindset to make decisions that sometimes are very hard decisions.
Now you have a new
Gave
company.
up drinking 5 years ago,
Sorry,
and I wish. Sorry.
sorry, wait, I couldn't hear you, it was a
Oh,
break.
I gave up drinking 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I wish I had given up drinking sooner. And I'm not saying this is the right decision for anyone else, just for me. But when I think about how I was spending my time, which is the one non renewable resource that I had, and I was spending so much of my time on the road, um, away from my family. If I had structured my time so that when I was at home, I was really at home and just completely focused on my family, I think that it would have been healthier for everybody. It would have been healthier for me. It would have been healthier for the kids. It would have been healthier for my husband. Um, and I chose to, like, I'd be at a conference and, oh, I want to catch up with all my friends. So I would go to the bar and I would drink. And then the next morning I wouldn't feel like getting up early. And I wouldn't feel like doing the work that didn't have to be done that moment. And so I would put that off. That's an example of a choice that I made. And it's one where if I had chosen the slightly less fun path, I still could have caught up with my friends, just not at the bar,
Mhm.
or at the bar, but leave earlier, and then get a good night's sleep so that I'm healthy and rested the next day. And then spend some of the time focused on things that I could put it off and do it at home. But then that means that I'm doing this work thing at home instead of focused on my family. So that's just an example of a tiny little decision that I could have made differently. And I kind of wish I had, because it would have made my success more sustainable.
But I think that for myself, I didn't have someone who advise me or just mentor me and tell me, so you need to structure this, and in a good way, because the thing is, I think that especially when you are successful, so you are like a teenager, you are in the puberty, you know, you know how the things goes, and you don't let no one tell you how the things are, you know, because
I do.
you know
I do.
that's the point. That's yeah, yeah, yeah. And and I think that there's something, for example, that I could imagine to do it later. That I said, okay, I am here to talk to someone who, yeah, not for money, I will do it for free, but just to say, okay, because I have a past, and all the things that I have done are not good, okay, and or let's say, well, not good in, you could do it better, let's say, in that way or in another way, and you don't need to do it maybe in the wrong way that I am doing. And for example, with my son, he's studying like crazy, and I think I am the first father who told his kid, go to party, go party. Yeah,
Oh,
because I think that I said, you don't need to be the best in the class. It's the second one or the third one or the fourth one is okay, but go to party, and because he wants to be the best one. It's crazy. And I said, hey, go to party. Life is long, and no one will care if you are the best one or not. This depends on you at the end of the day. And I think that that's the interesting thing. But in my opinion, the world is changing that way, that the people are now more conscious about the health and about taking care about the family and so on. This is positive.
yeah,
So you have now a new company.
I do.
Why?
Why am I doing this again? It's a little bit different than last time. So when you and I met, my job was essentially get on airplanes and go help people. And one of the big things that changed with the pandemic was that we saw that it's possible to do so much remotely. And so I was able to run classes and facilitation, consulting engagements, all remotely. So why? Because I still have more in me that I want to do. But the how and making it sustainable, I'm doing that by making it. So far, all of the work that I have done has been done basically. You're in Curious Duck. Digital Laboratories World Headquarters, which is, you can't tell because this is a WeWork. I have a tiny postage stamp sized single person office here. And I'm structuring this business very differently than I structured the previous one. But why? Because I still love software development and helping people figure out how to get through their hardest problems, so that they can ship reliably and sustainably, because sustainability for the humans is super important.
Yeah. I mean, you are still the same person that I met 15 years ago.
Oh,
A lot of power, no? A lot of strength, and also the will to teach, no? To give the knowledge to other people, and that's amazing. That's very
oh,
nice.
you are so
When
sweet.
when when you are struggling, to whom do you talk to? Do you have a
My
person to
dogs?
no
No,
to talk?
sorry.
No. When you are struggling with things, so
Yeah, when I'm
do you,
struggling with things, I talk to
the,
my dogs. It was a
you
joke.
talk with
It
your
was a
dogs? Okay,
it was a
wow.
joke. It was a bad joke.
No. This I mean, hey, they hear so nicely. They hear everything, and they're so. I mean, I have to tell you a very sad story. My dog dies 2 weeks ago.
I'm so sorry.
14 years, Manolo,
Oh,
the best dog ever, the best dog ever.
oh.
Yeah, yeah, very, very sadly.
See, so the
Mm,
dogs, they don't judge.
mm.
They they
They
just
give you only love. They give
only
you
love,
love, only love. They give love.
especially if you give them treats. But
Yeah,
but only love.
yeah. I have 4 kids, and I always said when they are really crazy, and I said, in my next life, I will have only a dog or a cat.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah, I know, but that's me. Yeah. So we have a little more time, but for me is I will let one part away. Um, and I have only one more question, and then we have the standard question just to close up the things. And the
Okay.
question that I have is, what is a blessing in your life? What's a blessing in your life?
A blessing in my life. Oh, so many. Um, I
The
am
dogs.
so the dogs. Okay, we'll start with the dogs. But I'm also so incredibly grateful for all of the people in my life. You are one of them.
Thank you.
Um, and my husband, who I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done without him, and our respective families and our kids. My youngest is, knock on wood, youngest is graduating this year if she finishes everything she's supposed to finish in the next 2 weeks. And I am going to be in tears. That is such a huge blessing to get to see her have gone. She's gone through quite a journey of her own, and I am so incredibly grateful. You know, you did ask who do I talk to, and I am so grateful for all of the professional colleagues that I that have been so open and wonderful and given me advice. And when I reach out, I know that they will listen just like my dogs, without judgment, but also with way better advice than my dogs have. So I'm super grateful for everyone within my circle.
Yeah, the people will love you too. I know. I know that. I know that. They. Hmm, it's okay. Okay, we we so one more question that I want. If you have a wish, which one?
Well, I mean, there's the sort of global wishes, like world peace would be great.
No, for
Um,
you, for you, for
oh,
you,
for
for yourself,
me,
for yourself. If you have a wish
for
for yourself.
myself. Um, well, I kind of wish to make the curious duck fly. You've noted it's not a great environment right now for little startups, and this is a little weird startup that I'm doing that's still finding its legs, so to speak, or its wings, depending on how much you want to stretch the duck metaphor.
Yeah, but
Um,
you know what? There is a
what?
saying in Spanish:
Oh,
without pain, no birth. Okay,
yeah.
so um, and you are good. You have an idea. I mean, I always said this is not easy to have a company, to run a company, and to set up a company, and that the company runs for years. And I can tell you, uh, I think you don't know that I have also an e-bike business. Do you know that?
I'm
We
sorry,
have
you have a what?
an e-bike business.
I had no idea.
Okay, in the pandemic time, I at the first moment said, okay, oh my God, we may go bankrupt, because you don't know what's happened. And then we look at all the things, and then I look into my bank account and say, oh my God, I have money. So so there is no problem. And then I was home and I had nothing to do because all my teams where they were working and so on, the people in the conference, they couldn't work. But when we were thinking about the things that we could do, and then I said, okay, what should I do? Because I said I cannot wait, so I have to do things. So and then I developed few ideas on businesses and I said, okay, the most promising one is e-bikes. So I said, okay, I want to make a startup, and I want to make to do something disruptive, and to change the world how e-bikes works, or how to sell e-bikes. So I found a boutique for e-bikes with the launch videos, crazy. So I
Oh,
open
how
it,
cool!
yeah, I open it, and then the German government just shut down all the shops. I said, okay, great. So the first 5 months of the shop was closed. So then we could open 2022, no, 21, and then in 2021 we made 1 million euros. I said, okay, that's okay, but not lost. Okay, we made lost, and then last year, so we
Wait,
made
you made a million or you lost a million?
I made a million. I
You
lost
made a
all.
million.
I lost. Yeah, yeah. I lost only 100,000 euros. So the
That's
revenues,
amazing for your
the,
first year in
yeah,
business.
the second year I made 1.9 million. I already doubled. So
Woo!
this is the third year. What happened?
What
We have
happened?
we have a war in
Oh,
Ukraine.
yes,
The
yes.
people do not spend money. So now, compared to the year before, I earned 500,000 euros less in end of April than the year before. So you cannot. I mean, business are so difficult, and it's not easy, and I have to invest so much money, and that's why it's a pain. But my dear, enjoy, because the path. It's the path.
It's a roller
Yeah,
coaster.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's it is. Again,
yeah.
again, again. No plane, no helicopter, no Porsche, no Tesla.
But you have an e-bike.
Yes, yes, yes. I have it. I have it. So the last question for you. There are obligatory questions in this format called Pepe's Bar, and even if you are not drinking alcohol now for 5 years, but what is your favorite drink?
Oh, my favorite drink, um, Bundaberg ginger beer.
Okay,
It's a ginger ale. It's a
ginger. Yeah,
non-alcoholic soda, but oh, it's so good.
so yeah, that's good. So we need to try to get that for you.
Oh, no, that's all right. I'm not fussy. It's not
So
required.
there is a favorite song for you also in the bar. When you said, "Oh, a song," I go
Oh,
dancing.
oh, anything by Pink.
Oh, my son, 7, Ping is going to be here in July, I think,
Oh, wow.
and he's going with my wife there. He loves Pink. Mm, mm. Oh, nice, nice. If you could choose, who would be your favorite person to talk at the bar, beside me, of course?
Well,
There's
yes,
any
you need to
and
be there.
yeah, yeah. There's any person in the world that you say, I would like to talk to this person. I would like to talk to this person.
Oh, living or dead? Has to be living?
No?
Dead? Well, if dead, then I would really like to have a conversation with Benjamin Franklin.
Wow. Okay.
Seems like he's a fascinating guy.
Yeah.
I'd like to find out.
Tell me. Tell me. I invite you both here.
Well, I mean, he's very dead, obviously.
Yeah, I know. But if you talk to him, maybe we can arrange something.
Yeah, bring the Ouija board.
So I, I I think you don't know that, but I work as a bartender for many years. Do you know that?
Did not know
Okay.
that. No.
Yeah, when I was young, I needed the money. I did that. Yeah. And so I am your bartender tonight.
Thank you.
So what is your confession to make?
Oh, my confession. I don't know.
You know,
Ah,
when you are in the bar, we both
I'm in
are
the
alone.
bar.
We're in the bar with, we're alone. You drank something. You are nice. You're talking, and then you said to me,
Ah,
a secret.
a secret. I don't have very many secrets. Um, okay, so let's talk about my younger daughter's graduation. When my older daughter graduated, I bawled. I was just crying because I was so, I don't know, relieved, happy, grateful, proud, combination of emotions that just welled up so much it came out as tears. And then when the younger one, that same year, because they're 4 school years apart. So when the younger one graduated from high school, I cried even harder because we didn't think that she was going to get through high school. She had quite the journey. And so I'm looking forward to this trip to see her graduate in a couple of weeks. And I'm really hoping she makes it because she still has to do some work and she's had some stuff come up. This is like she's had stuff come up that's not her fault. If even if she doesn't make it and she gets the I don't know if they do this in Europe, but sometimes in the US they'll like have the kid gets to walk the ceremony but does not actually get the diploma because they haven't finished.
Oh,
They've only
okay.
kind of finished.
Okay.
And so
Oh,
even if that happens, it's still
okay.
not her fault
Okay.
because it's been a hard year for her. But if she makes it, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a puddle. There's going to be nothing left of me. Happy, relieved,
Yeah.
proud, everything pent up for 8 years.
Yeah. This is, I mean, the suffering for kids never stops, right?
Never, never.
Mm, mm,
No, but
mm.
also it's not all suffering.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to have good relationships with both of my kids.
Yeah.
They text me regularly, not in a weird codependent way, just like, I send pictures of the dogs to the kids, and my older one has a cat, sends me cat pictures back. So I'm so grateful.
Yeah. Good. That's good. So, what is the best place on earth?
I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble with this one for my family because I love California, but Helsinki. Helsinki is
Helsinki.
beautiful.
Helsinki.
Helsinki.
Wow. Why?
Why? Well, okay. So the story starts in, I don't even remember, like 2006 or 7 or something like that. And I got an email out of the blue saying, hey, I saw your tech talk. And would you like to come to Helsinki and give that same talk? And at the time I was so ignorant, I had to go look at a map to see where Helsinki was because I didn't even know. But I ended up, there was a point when I was working with more companies in Helsinki than in all of the US when in the 2008 mortgage crisis, because, we all have seen these roller coasters come and go. And it got to the point where I actually even knew where to do my laundry in Helsinki. I would go for extended periods, and it is a beautiful, clean city with incredibly friendly people, which I'm sure anybody who's from Finland who's hearing me say this will be so surprised to hear those words
No, they're very nice.
but they are so nice. And I really loved the time that I got to spend in Helsinki.
Yeah. I mean, I never been in Finland. Never been in Finland. And
Oh, it
but
must go.
I work with Scandinavian people, and I live less than a year together with a Finnish girl.
Ah,
Many years ago. Yeah. Pirjo.
did you learn any
Pirjo.
Finnish? It's a very hard
No,
language.
no, it's difficult. Yeah. I think the only thing that I remember is Mina raskatan sinua. This is I love you. I think it's the only thing that I know. Sorry.
I did not know this phrase. I didn't have much cause to say it.
Okay, but this could be the right confession that you like Helsinki more than US or more than California, New Hampshire. Okay, what is the best way to say goodbye?
I'll see you again soon.
I see you again soon. Thanks so much. It was really a big pleasure.
Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful.
Take care, my
So
dear.
looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, to give you a hug. Thanks so much.
Yes,
And best regards to Kirk.
indeed.
Okay, thanks so much. Bye bye.
Thanks.